they sent me an order that was $25,000, and I'd never seen anything quite that big. In the same week, David Jones also placed an order for $25,000. So I was sitting there in my little tiny studio in Surry Hills trying to work out how I could possibly produce that much product.
The thing about Sydney is it's quite expensive to set yourself up and to maintain a creative business like this. So we very quickly kind of deciphered that putting exhibitions and trying to survive purely off exhibitions wasn't going to work.
We are quite a small organisation, but we do quite big things.
This is Surry Hills, still home to the textile trade and media, but also the epicentre of creative culture in Sydney. The designers who work here are serious about what they do. Unlike a decade ago, many don't have the luxury anymore of inexpensive working spaces, so instead they have to marry professional business management skills with pursuing their creative dreams. This tour will take you to the galleries, stores and studios of designers big and small. This tour is about growth and change. It charts the development of some small design-related businesses who've grown big, and we'll meet small businesses who have to act bigger than they are to make ends meet. Each has their own story, and each of them has reasons why they settled here, some from far away.
Came over and just was so taken aback by the scale and the light and the colour of the country that and the sense of freedom and the lack of history and all those things. I just decided to stay and start a business up here.
I don't believe Australians buy into the snobbery of labels of prestige as much as other cultures.
In the middle of the precinct sits Object, the organisation behind these tours, and a champion of local design.
It's an organisation that's really interested in exploring the potential for design in our lives.
Some designers start out writing a business plan, investigating the market, doing research and consulting focus groups. But in many cases, the business idea is almost accidental, where like minds meet.
We've sort of just formed a loose coalition of the willing, really. It's a bit like having a share house.
Or a designer changes directions when he or she realises something works for them.
I probably started the whole ceramics as a way of expressing myself rather than designing something useful. So design came kind of later.
The tour looks at the motivations, and perhaps more interestingly, at the intuitions of lots of designers. Making things by hand is something that distinguishes the work of many, the appreciation of the human touch.
Everyone was moving towards computers. Surely down the track there will be a response to or a reaction against that, and the hand, the organic, the handmade, surely there's a place for this. And so I sort of figured that a long time ago, and it just so happened to fit with my way of working. I enjoy that, the handmade product.
I could laser cut my work, but I choose not to. I don't like the finish, and to get to the finish I want with a laser cut product, I need to do a lot of work. And for me, part of the pleasure of making it is the touch of the hand and the sort of the idiosyncrasy of the hand. So I might work to a similar pattern for each piece, but they're all a little bit different because they're completely hand done.
Some of the lights that the women have produced have actually incorporated things like shark bone, seeds, shells. So each shell has to be individually collected. The little snail that lives in there has to be removed. They get washed, and then the hole has to get pierced in there. So it's quite an incredible amount of work.
Other designers are almost obsessed with new technologies and manufacture, or they use unusual combinations of processes, like modelling objects on the computer and then still laboriously producing things by hand.
The 3D modelling allows me to very accurately create a very delicate and intricate structure through repetition of different kinds of shapes to form a pattern. And those shapes also often change shape from, for example, from the outside of the piece to the inside of the piece. I do work with the idea of secrecy and the hidden.
But it's not just about the making of things, but about pursuing poetry and beauty in the everyday.
There is a beauty in every object, no matter how banal or invisible it may be, like a little spring or a bracket inside a toaster. In designing that bracket, you need to be efficient with materials, it needs to be manufacturable, I learnt that there is a beauty in those sort of small components.
The kissing pendants were based on any loving relationship that involves some kind of embrace. I guess it was loosely based on myself and my partner. The kissing pendants are two pendants that hang separately in a room or above a table or wherever you like, I guess. And when they're apart, the lights are off, and when they're together, the lights are on.
And we celebrate the beauty of the machine.
This tour reveals what makes Surry Hills designers tick, how and where they work, why they pursue that work, and what makes them happy.
Seeing people out wearing Secret Squirrel, I just love that. It's sort of like you feel really special and you want to just run up to people and go, oh my God, but then you don't.
The Audio Design Museum is a living museum where the city becomes the exhibition space. You could look at it like an urban safari about creativity. If you want to do the entire tour, you can download it to your device and print out the maps, which will guide you to the individual locations and give you some backgrounds on the designers. There you can listen to designers in their studios, their galleries and businesses. So it's a show and tell about their ideas, their creativity, and about the work they've made.